A federal judge in Maryland is demanding answers from the Justice Department tonight, grilling officials for hours over contradictory answers, a man at the center of a deportation and criminal prosecution controversy. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was mistakenly deported to El Salvador only to be indicted and brought back under federal custody. Now the judge wants to know whether the Trump administration intends to go through with that criminal case. Our investigative reporter Jordan Fisher is joining me now. Jordan, good to have you here. You were in court today.
Yep.
All right, we got a lot of ground to cover, so let's talk about this. What did Judge Paula Zinnus seem most frustrated about, especially during today's hearing, and how did DOJ attorneys really respond to her concerns?
Right, so Judge Zinnus is very, like precision, like trying to narrow in on this period in late May, where there's this indictment on May 21st, but at the same time, the Justice Department is telling her that the President and DOJ and DHS have no power to bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia back from El Salvador, where he was being held. And she says, if you thought you had no way to bring him back, if you thought you really had no power to bring him back, why are you filing a criminal indictment in Tennessee? Those don't add up. They don't line up, and it makes her think, obviously, that somebody was not telling the truth.
Fair enough. And, I'm curious, as you were in there, was there a specific moment that really kind of highlighted the judge's irritation, maybe the doubt she had in all of this that's playing out? Right.
So there's this very, not heated, but intense back and forth between the judge and an attorney for the Justice Department, where she asked, you said to me that, this agent got up in Tennessee in his criminal case, and he said, we began this investigation in late April. That was a big question about when this investigation started. It's based on this, this traffic stop from years ago. And the attorney for the DOJ said, no, we think maybe this investigation began even earlier than that. The judge is saying, you're contradicting the government's own sworn witness. She really said, at one point, she said, be very careful with me. Don't say things in court that you're going to have to come back and retract later.
I did want to mention, too, you and I were just talking in the break. You said this habeas deportation case is separate from the Tennessee one. Just wanted to make a footnote of that. Anything people should know in that regard?
Right, so there's two separate cases going on. That was another source of frustration for the judge today. There's this criminal case in Tennessee that was filed last month. It was filed in May, but he was brought back to the U.S. to face those charges last month. And then there's this habeas petition that's ongoing in Maryland. That's about his deportation, and that's where attorneys are still fighting for an agreement from the government to not mistakenly deport him again, or to at least give him process before he goes to a third country.
And I did want to mention the judge has called for another hearing in this case on Thursday. What are they hoping to hear or looking to hear from the administration?
Right, so that hearing on Thursday is all about that question of what happens when he's released from DOJ custody. They have said last week and today, as soon as he's released, ICE is going to take him into detention. They're going to seek to deport him, and that deportation will be to a third country, not to his home country of El Salvador, to a third country as yet to be determined.
A lot of moving pieces to this, Jordan. Thank you so much for breaking it down for us. We'll be checking in with you for updates. Thank you.